Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the AVL RACETECH series Beat the Pro Challenge. And I am your host, Aaron Smith, and alongside me is Avery McDonald and Joshua Wilkie is in the production booth. And today looks like to be one of the more interesting broadcasts that we've done on Apex Racing TV as well. In the title, Beat the Pro Challenge, we've got 3 real-life racing drivers and some of the best sim racers at the moment also in the lobby, trying to take them on. And well, who can beat the pros? Can the pros face up to the top sim racers? We will find out. It's LMP2s here at Spa, and well, it should be an absolutely fantastic day for racing. We've got, I think, nearly 40 odd drivers in this lobby, the likes of Peter Zuber, Simon Coulthard, just some really talented names. And then of course our 3 pros, Tatiana Calderon, Colapinto, and the last one, which I've already forgotten because I'm an idiot, Finn Gerhitz. 3 pros in real life. Who can beat them? Avery, just give us your thoughts on this first big event that we've done in a while.
Well, when you sign up for sim racing, you expect to race against other drivers that have no racing experience, but you dream of racing against people who have the real life experience. So this was a great opportunity for a lot of sim racers to get to race against a pro, to feel what it's like to go against someone who gets to do this, on a somewhat regular basis. So it's a really cool opportunity for us here at Apex Racing TV to cover this. We thank them for coming and letting us support it. But yeah, it's such a cool opportunity for all these drivers.
Absolutely, and well, it's just a fun little event for some of the pros as well. You know, they just get to see how good they are at sim racing, and some of the tough challenges that come with it is, I think some people often don't really realize how tough sim racing can be. There's a lot more opportunities for just anyone can sit down, get a G29 and hop on iRacing and be the fastest driver in the world. You just never know who you're going to come up against, and that's the beauty of sim racing. It's everyone versus everyone, all equal opportunities. And well, today should be an absolutely amazing day. We've got 30 minutes of qualifying, got 15-minute separate sessions for all of the drivers. And well, while we wait for some of these guys to finish their first laps, I believe we get to have a chat with Ellen from AVL. And hopefully she can just give us a bit more information on what's going to happen today. Ellen, can you hear us all loud and clear in the booth? Judging by that, I'm going to guess no. Unfortunately, I think Ellen is having some technical difficulties right now. Just been struggling with this over the past few minutes, but while she gets things up and running, Avery, how much experience do you have in these prototype cars? And if you do, anything you can talk about with these LMP2s being a little bit older as well, and Spa being such a difficult track?
Oh, I love these LMP2 cars, and I don't have much experience there at Spa. I probably have about an hour or two driving, but I really enjoy these cars. It's nice to be a fan of like driving prototypes, but they're not as fast. I think that's one thing that I struggle with the faster prototypes. Is just they're just too fast for my eyes, and these LMP2 cars are just a little bit slower, and they put on some really good racing. Like everything doesn't come to you as fast as you go as we're on board here. You just see getting into the corners nice and smooth, and you feel like you have a little bit of time to relax. So that's one thing I like about them. I've never been in a race where it's just the prototypes. I've always done some multi-class with these cars, so it's going to be really cool to see what it's like when it's just the one class of cars. So very fun car. I'm really glad they added it to the service.
I mean, I remember when this car was first added, it was really hype. Everyone was just in love with it, and I just feel like over the past few seasons it's just tailed off a little bit with the introduction of the GTP class, of course that being the more favorable one, and they really have had to nerf the LMP2s as well. You know, with the introduction of the LMDHs, they actually weren't as quick as they should have been, so they just made the LMP2 slower, just which was a bit weird at the time. They made them about 3 or 4 seconds a lap slower, which, yeah, it just made it a completely different car to drive. And like you said, just made it that little bit slower, a little bit more calm. And some of our drivers just getting their first laps in. At the moment, we've got Brett Bones at the top, 2:04.9. We're going to see a lot more lap times coming over the next 25 minutes, though. Christopher Berger in 30th place. It is quite a difficult track, this, of course, being one of the longer just purpose-built circuits in the world, and of course one of the most famous. And well, the LMP2s come here in real life, well, they used to anyway, in the World Endurance Championship, and they can be a rather tough beast to drive, as, like you said, the smooth driving that this car requires, it can hinder you at times, as the traction control in this car can be one of the biggest enemies in all of iRacing. You really do have to be super smooth with your inputs in this car to get the most out of it, and just be on the edge at the same time. It's quite a weird car to drive, but I know some people fell in love with this car all the way back. I think it was 2-3 years ago when it was added, and it's still a fairly popular car, but rather overshadowed by some of the GTPs at the moment. But nevertheless, these guys are still giving it everything as we head through the final sector. Top speed of these cars reaching around 117 miles an hour. In slipstream, you could probably nearly reach 200 if you're lucky. These cars still have a lot of top speed, but just lack the downforce of the prototypes at the top of the class. Christopher Berger just coming towards the end of his lap now, braking hard for the bus stop. Got it nice and stopped there, hitting his apexes nicely. This looks like a fairly clean lap. Not the exit that he would have wanted as it comes across the line. What's it going to be? Is it going to be an improvement? No, 4/10 off, interestingly. So actually his first lap was a lot quicker than his second. Maybe a mistake creeped in there, but we've still got a couple more drivers to set some competitive lap times.
Yeah, the one thing with Spa, Aaron, is off tracks are really easy to come by, and if you're new to iRacing, if you go off the track, they eliminate your qualifying time. I know it's been a hindrance to here since it came out, but these are the cards we were dealt. So you just have to be very cautious on some of the corner exits, that you don't go too far off the track to eliminate your time. So that's one thing I've always suffered. Aaron won't qualifying here. I always get that pesky off track. And I mean, not that my time was going to be any good anyways. It'd be probably towards the bottom of the field, but still, it'd be nice just to get a time in, just to make myself feel good for, actually getting up onto the board. So Get some good times here so far. I mean, really spread out, but you're going to expect that with the spectrum of drivers we have here. All very talented, but they're still all out qualifying me by at least 2 or 3 seconds.
Well, this is, like you say, one of the more difficult racetracks in the world to get right, and especially in these prototype cars, they can be a right pain. And yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen where I would have been in terms of this field, as I have been getting back into iRacing lately, driving some of the GTP cars, and I would have loved to have done this, but unfortunately, I had no idea what was going on, and I decided to commentate over instead. So maybe that's where I belong, and I don't want to get absolutely whitewashed by some of the 9K drivers and even by some of the pros in here. Maybe if it was GTPs, you know, the Acura, the Cadillac, the BMW, the Porsche, maybe I would have decided to just jump in, and I would have won, obviously. But yeah, LMP2. Not really my type of car to drive. I don't know. Me personally, I've never really gotten on that well with this car. Even back in the day when it was a lot quicker, a lot more people were driving it, and I do mean a lot more people. Pretty much the entirety of iRacing was driving it. I don't know. I just never really got on well with it. Honestly, I drove the LMP1s more than this car. I don't know. I just never got on well with it. Maybe it's a skill issue. No, it is a skill issue because I'm terrible. But getting on a lot better with the modern prototypes is me, and I'll stick to those for the time being. But some people, of course, wishing that LMP2 had a couple more chassis in iRacing. Maybe a choice. Of course, the Dallara is the main one in iRacing, and the only one. You've got, I think, Orica is the other main one in real life that now races in the European Le Mans series. And I think some people would have loved to have seen a couple more chassis enter the iRacing sim, but Dallara is the only one that we've got. A couple drivers now just on their warm-up laps, just getting ready for another flying lap. And a rather long qualifying session, an open qualifying session as well, which can always throw a spanner in the works. I mean, open qualifying sessions are something that not that many people are used to in iRacing. Of course, it's not in officials. And, well, Avery, I don't know how many open qualifying sessions you've been in, but if you have, how frustrating can it be?
Oh, it can be frustrating at some point. When you get to a track like Spa, it's a large track, so you're able to get some clean air, get a clean track. For me, what's nice is if you're kind of one of the slower cars like I am, sometimes I just try to get behind someone that's faster, just watch how they do the track. It's not really going to impede my time because they're going to drive away from me. But the one thing I want to point out, these LMP2 cars, always usually get a good finish. Last year at the Rolex 24, they had a side-by-side finish. I was there, but I've seen a lot of the IMSA races, maybe season 1, season 2 on iRacing when the more LMP2s were in the field. They always had some really good races, at least what I looked on results standings to try to keep up with the cars that we bring to Apex Racing TV. So, the biggest thing here is you got to keep the car clean. It is a sprint race, but it's also a long race here at Spa. But if you get through the start, you just be able to clean up a little bit. That's one thing I've noticed. The track and where everybody else is at. So just a really fun track, and I'm really excited to see how this one goes.
I couldn't agree with you more. Spa always just is in real life and on sim. It's always a joy to drive, to watch, and I don't think today's going to be any different. LMP2s, like you say, always provide some good racing, again, in real life and in the sim. And some people have had very mixed responses to LMP2 not being in IMSA or the World Endurance Championship next year. I'm kind of on the fence about it, as they did provide some fantastic racing in both series, but I don't know. Then again, the GTPs and the LMHs provided some amazing racing as well, and I do kind of want to see what different manufacturers come up with. And LMP2, I love it. They've still got their own series in European Le Mans and Asian Le Mans as well. But I don't know. I mean, they are coming back for the 24 hours of Le Mans this year. I think there's 20 grid spots reserved for the LMP2s. But yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm a bit happy and sad that they're leaving. Would love to hear what everyone else thinks. As for one, though, I know that people are happy that the LMP3s are not going to be in IMSA anymore, as they produced some issues last year. Cough, cough, Sebring, cough, cough, Porsche. But anyway, back to the racing at hand. Well, qualifying at hand. Only 2 minutes to go for our first group of cars. This first group, of course, being the lower I-rated drivers, probably from about 1k to about 2.5k, I'd say, maybe up towards 3k. But from the I-rating that I'm seeing anyway, ranges from about that. So all we're going to say, you can only expect these lap times to improve over the next 15 minutes. But to be fair, Marcus Pleshberger in pole right now, a 2:04.3 is a pretty decent lap time. He's quite a ways ahead of the cars ahead. He's about 0.6 of a second ahead of second place. So he's doing well at the moment, and he could actually find himself being further up the grid than a lot of us would have given him credit for, considering his I rating. So yeah, he could actually be one to watch for during this 40-minute race, and should be some exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's super important to get a good qualifying effort here, especially when you have this big of a field. I think we're pushing 40 cars, so it's very important to try to start in the top 10. To be in where you get the prizes. I mean, there's prizes all the way to 10th place. I mean, and then a random voucher to anybody that finishes outside the top 10. So that's really cool. 300 iRacing vouchers to first place, 200 to second, 150 to third, 100 to fourth, and 60 for fifth, and 50 all the way down to 10. But still, really cool racing for something, Aaron, for these drivers, and that just puts a lot more in these races. Concentrate a little bit more pre-race to get some good practice in, because it's always important to get a good practice in and have just find out where you're better and where you need to get more pace. It's just one thing I've noticed, Aaron, especially getting back into the racing part for me on iRacing, is just going out there and getting laps. It doesn't really matter what track or where, what track it is. Just as long as you're putting into good effort, that's how you always get faster. I've noticed I've gotten just a little bit more speed, so I'm not 6 seconds off, maybe 5 seconds off. So that's one thing. You just take a look at, like you said, Pleshberger up in the front, good qualifying effort. I think he's gonna be sitting in a good spot. We won't quite be sure until these faster or higher I-rating drivers get their times in.
We've got Michael Derlinger coming around the final few corners. I believe this is going to be his last lap as the pros just make their way out of the pits and onto the track. Here comes Derlinger for his final lap. What's it going to be? It is an improvement and only just misses out on Bones ahead, and that's a pretty decent lap time, to be fair. Only missed out by around 0.06 of a second, so third place for him at the moment. Should probably be at least in the top 10, I'd say, come the end of qualifying, or I could be completely wrong, and the next run of drivers are just a lot quicker than I think they will be. I know who will be quick relatively. I know some of these drivers. I've spoken to a few of them just over the past few months and weeks, as they also do prototypes pretty regularly. Some of the other drivers just here to have fun, here to prove themselves, and well, either way, it's LMP2s at Spa. It should be good no matter what. And well, still got a long way to go in this qualifying session, but I'm going to predict we're probably going to see a low 203, I'm going to say, for pole. Just a bit of a bold prediction, that. And I could be completely wrong. Maybe they're a lot slower than I think they'll be. Maybe they'll do 202s. Maybe they'll get under the 2 minutes. Maybe they'll do a 159. Who knows? But I did notice as well in that first group, I didn't see anyone really utilizing the slipstream. So it can affect you dirty air wise pretty badly in that middle sector. But I mean, getting the slipstream in sector 1 and the last sector can probably gain you about half a second, if not more. And Avery, if you were one of these drivers, would you try and get into that slipstream, or would you just want to be on your own in your own little space?
Well, that's a good question, Aaron. I think I would probably like to be on my own. And when you have good pace. So that's the important thing is just to, if you have good pace, probably just be by yourself.
Yeah, I was always one of the drivers who thought it would be best to just be on my own, to be honest, and I always preferred that. There were only a few tracks where I thought, the slipstream definitely would be worth it, like tracks like Monza, Le Mans probably as well was quite useful for the slipstream. But honestly, at Spa, you just lose so much time behind another car through corners like this, through Pouon. It just gives you so much understeer that it's just not worth it, in my opinion. It just puts you off too much, and relative to the amount of time you gain, I don't think it would be worth it. But I'm surprised no one has at least tried it yet. I would have liked to see someone at least give it a go, but some of the drivers clearly having their strategies locked down already and thinking, nah, mate, I'm just gonna go all by myself. And well, we've got some times already coming through on the board, and as predicted, the top drivers in the GTPs are setting some good lap times in the LMP2s. We've got Peter Zuber up into third place, Timo Rohde in second, and David Toth as well up to first with a 203.6 for a first lap. That is pretty damn impressive. And well, your previous pole sitter, Pleshberg, is still in fifth place at the moment, still waiting for some of the other drivers to come across the line. This is Andrea Benetti. As he comes across the line, where's he going to be? He's up to fifth place at 204.270. That's a decent lap time from him. And he will definitely be wanting to improve as he goes back out for another lap time. And it's also crucial not to overheat your tyres here at Spa, as it's fairly hot on the track. It's 38 degrees track and 25 degrees air, so 15-kilometer wind as well, so that could aid some of the drivers at certain parts of the track and also, well, absolutely kill them at other parts. And well, on a hot track you can easily overheat these Michelin tires, and well, your second lap is basically going to be pointless because you'll just be sliding and drifting, and well, you may as well be driving the VW Beetle at that point. You probably end up with a better lap time. And well, Warsaw Lux really sending it over the curbs there, and that's some kind of lap times that you want to see, but often the ones that look aggressive are often the slowest.
Yeah, I want to make a quick little point, Aaron. Anybody watching, the three pro drivers on the timing and scoring towers, the pros will have the red, and the sim racers will have the blue. So keep that in mind when you're watching. If you're trying to keep an eye on where the pros are, they have the red on the on their position. So that's one thing to keep an eye on, Aaron. Our top pro right now, Gerritz, is in 21st place, but still time to try to get a little bit better lap in.
And oh, you're absolutely right. The pros, got to keep an eye out for those. And at the moment, they're just sitting peacefully at the moment. We've got Gersitz down in 22nd place. I don't believe the other drivers have actually set a lap time yet, but I'm pretty sure. I'm going to guess Colapinto is going to be right up there. He's going to be one of the drivers I'm going to be looking out for. And Gersis, I think, will be a nice just a midfield battle, and he could possibly make his way through the field, and I'm predicting he'll just be nice and clean throughout this entire race. And yeah, well, I mean, my prediction is as good as anyone's, as well, we have no idea what's going to happen in the race. It's going to be fun, it's going to be chaotic, that's all we know. And Gus is absolutely sending it into La Source there. That was a nice entry and exit. Got a little bit of a snap though, possibly costing him a few hundreds, making his way through Erouge and Radion now up the hill. Of course, one of the most famous corners in all of motorsport. Now down the Kemmel Straight. Just a little bit of a break. Time to think about the next braking zone and think about how you're going to mess it up, as I'm very guilty of doing that. Nice and early on the brakes as you got a car on the inside, swooping through Lecom. A nice section here, and one of the more tricky braking zones on the entire track. It's very easy to lock the front right into here. It looks like he's got it nice and hooked up on the apex. Now through No Name, very easy to get an off track on the exit here. He's kept it on the track nicely there. Seems like this is going to be a very, very smooth lap from Gersitz. Nice wide entry into Puon. Make sure you don't get any understeer and also don't get the off track on the outside. And looks like he's got it hooked up really nicely on this lap. He's just taking it easy and making sure he doesn't get any of those off tracks. Now coming towards the end of the middle sector. This can be one of the more difficult parts to get the most out of. You have to use pretty much all of the track, and he's doing exactly that. You've got to be careful of that off track. There's about 3 or 4 off tracks here on this lap, which you do have to worry about. And like Avery mentioned, it can catch you out very, very easily if you just take a little bit too much and you get on throttle just a tiny bit too early. Well, that's your qualifying lap over, and you'll have to go again. Coming now through Blanchimont into the final few corners. Hard on the brakes now. And oh, he's just snatched one of the rear brakes there. Going to cost him a bit of time, but he's going to come up to the line. What's it going to be for Finn Gersitz? He's in 25th at the moment and moves up to 19th place with the 204.9. A nice improvement there. But as I predicted, Colapinto up to 3rd place. Very impressive by Colapinto there.
Yeah, very good run for Colapinto to get the third place there for qualifying. Just still a little bit of time.
I mean, Colapinto, of course, being, well, an absolute star in Formula 3 this year. And, well, I believe he is going to Formula 2 next year. And, well, can anyone say that they're surprised? He's been one of the up-and-coming racing stars. And a lot of people predicting that he could eventually make his way into Formula 1 one day. We've got a lot of up-and-coming drivers in motorsport over the past, I'd say, couple years that have just been really enticing. And in Formula 2 for next season looks absolutely fantastic, I've got to say. You've got some amazing drivers in there, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. And, well, of course, some of the drivers are going to be in the World Endurance Championship as well. Honestly, we're spoiled for choice with motorsport at the moment. I think we were talking about this just before we went live, actually, that we're just spoiled at the moment. We're entering a new golden era of motorsport. If Formula 1 can be a bit closer, I think Formula 1 can really be an absolute joy to watch. We've just got to somehow stop the dominance of Red Bull, and then it will be a fantastic watch. I think a lot of people will agree with me. Had Red Bull not been in Formula 1 this year, it would have been an absolute joy to watch. And, well, the World Endurance Championship is going to be fantastic later on in just a few months' time. First round in Qatar, of course. But enough about real-life racing. Let's get back to sim racing. We are on board with Gabriel Stratmatter, who's currently in 11th place. And the field is a lot closer than I actually thought it would be. The top few drivers have just broken away a little bit, but the midfield is incredibly close right now. And Stratmatter actually getting a little bit of a slipstream there. Is he going to improve on his lap time? No, he's not. Might have just been a cooldown lap, actually. That would make a lot more sense, as he went 2 seconds slower on that lap, so I do not believe he'd be pushing. But he is getting the slipstream from the car ahead. And, well, this first sector, anyway, that's really going to help him. I wonder if the car ahead is going to pull off at the end of the Kemmel Straight as well. This is going to give him a huge chunk of time. And he could actually jump up quite a few places. As I've said this before, the slipstream can gain you a lot of time. The driver is pulling out, and yes, a little bit of team tactics there. Interesting. So for the first time, I believe I've seen someone actually utilising the slipstream. All Stray Marta has to do is put the rest of this lap together. Down into his corner. It's, again, one of the more tricky corners, and the LMP2 seems to be hooked up rather nicely through there. Through No Name now. Got to watch out for the off-track, and he just about stays on. He really is pushing this. I could actually say that Stray Marta could actually jump up to the top 5 if he does get this absolutely right. Didn't take as much space on the outside of the track through Puon as he'd want to, but hey, I'm criticising drivers. I'm sitting in a chair just screaming into a microphone. What do I know about racing? So let these guys get on with it. Nice entry into there, and now Dak to the back straight. It looks like a fairly good lap time, I gotta say, but I could be absolutely wrong. He did set a purple first sector, so that's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be, if he can carry it all the way through the rest of this lap. Well, what can he do? Coming through Pill 1 and now into the bus stop chicane. Oh, it looks a bit deep, and he's actually managed to get it stopped on a dime, hitting those curbs nicely. This could actually be a really, really impressive lap time. He's up to 12th at the moment. What's it going to be when he crosses the line? Up to 7th. There you go. A 2/10 improvement, I believe. And that was a fairly good lap from Stray Marta. And, well, good job from the German. And I think that's going to be pretty much his last run. This is going to be the last runs for these guys in qualifying. And I believe if they start their lap times, they are allowed to finish it. I'd like to hope so. So these guys are going to have one more chance to try and improve on their lap times, as from 1st all the way down to 16th, it's around a second, which, to be fair, considering how long this track is actually pretty good. I'd say that's rather impressive from some of these guys. Finn Gersitz probably rather hoping that he'd have a little bit more pace in this LMP2 car. He's down in 23rd at the moment. And of course, him being one of the pros to beat tonight, you'd rather think that he'd be doing just that tiny bit better. But, you know, everyone struggles differently in these cars and on sims. Some people get on with R-Factor 2 better than they do with iRacing. For me, and I believe a lot of other people who probably are watching this stream, we all get on with iRacing, and that's why we love this sim. And we love watching it because it provides some amazing racing, some amazing qualifying sessions. And you get the opportunity to race some real-life drivers, as it usually is the sim of choice. The likes of Max Verstappen and, of course, some of the pros that we're seeing in today. It's always seems to be the sim of choice. And I can't say I'm surprised, really. It's been king for as long as I can remember now. And quick question, Avery. How long have you been on iRacing for? I think before we went on the stream, you mentioned you've been on here for quite a while.
Oh boy. I've been on iRacing since December 2010.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that makes me feel quite young.
I genuinely don't even know what I was doing in 2010. Oh wait, no, I was 6 years old. Okay, no, never mind. I probably was doing absolutely nothing.
Oh, that's Gersitz going for a slide through the final few corners. Well, he's pushing that LMP2 car to the max, but just pushed it a little bit over the edge. And, well, that's not going to be an improvement on his lap time. Yeah, lost a huge chunk of time in that last sector. And just could not improve on his 23rd place. We've got a few more drivers just wrapping up their lap times. Rio Ackerman goes up to 7th place, 203.83. That was a good lap time by him. Jarno Koch also improved up to 3rd place. He's gone ahead of Colapinto. That was a good lap time. We're now on board with Walter Lux. Can he improve into the top 10? I think... Oh, he's just missed out by just under a 10th there. He's qualified in 11th, though. And, well, he'll be kicking himself. But some of these drivers really, really putting on a fantastic show in this qualifying session. And 3 drivers have beaten your top pro today. And those drivers are David Toth, Timo Rohde, and Jarno Koch in this qualifying session. Rather say, I'm very, very impressed. Got to say.
Yeah, some really good times here at Spa, all the way out throughout the board. So it's a really impressive effort from all the drivers.
And now we just patiently wait for the qualifying session to end, and we can finally get this underway. I gotta say, I'm really excited for this race. I think it's going to be a joy to watch. No matter where you look, there is going to be some kind of battle going on. It's going to be for first, for a podium, for 5th, for 10th, for 15th, for 20th. No matter where you look, I think there will be some kind of battle going on today. It's very close. You've got to stay in that slipstream. It's crucial that you do, otherwise, yeah, you'll just fall out and probably just lose too much time. It's going to be a sprint and endurance race at the same time. I think it's a 40-45 minute race for some of these guys. Some people that do IMSA will be fairly familiar with that. But some of these other drivers will just be here for fun, see what they can do, see where they can end up. And well, we have just moved to the race session, and we have a 47 car grid, and I've got to name 47 drivers in the next 2 minutes. So let's see how I can do. On pole, it's David Toth with a lap time of a 2:03.2. That was a rather impressive lap time from the Hungarian. And the rest of the grid, here we go. Timo Rohde lines up alongside him in 2nd place. Jarno Koch in 3rd. Franco Colapinto in 4th place. Simon Tamas in 5th. Simon Kulotz in 6th place. Rio Ackerman in 7th. Gabriel Streetmeiter in 8th. Peter Zuber in 9th place. Johnny Gabbard in 10th. Walter Lux in 11th. Thomas Fischke in 12th place. Then Andrea Benetti in 13th place. Tommy Patara in 14th. Matthias Connell in 15th, Marcus in 16th place, Hendrik Struer in 17th, Jorge Marquinhos in 18th, Christian Meyer in 19th, Mark Hutchinson in 20th place, Christian Rosinka in 21st, Brett Bones in 22nd. I predicted that he would be in the top 10. I was completely wrong. Finn Gersitz, our other pro, in 23rd place, Michael Derlinger in 24th. I've just about gotten halfway through the grid. Max Ziegel in 25th place, Michael Rock in 26th, Lucas Basser in 27th, Thomas Leichbig in 28th, Christopher Berger in 29th, Patrick Zimmerman rounds out the top 30, Mark Selage in 21st, Huber Diehard in 32nd, Christoph in 33rd, Burhan Goffer in 34th, Sebastian Pullis in 35th, Alfonso Queiroz in 36th, Christian Albelizer in 37th, Christian Sweat in 38th, Burhan Pfister in 39th, Burhan Wallach in 40th, Raul Chonda in 41st, Gregory Jones in 42nd, Sanket Davinder in 43rd, Tatiana Calderon in 44th, our 3rd and final pro, and Michael Volgans in 45th, Roberto Cristerna in 46th, Jakob Kletzbauner in 47th place. That was a breath and a half, and I really do apologize how many drivers' names I just butchered. But we're about to go green, I believe. Actually, I just remembered it's a different layout of Spa, so this isn't the main straight, I believe. They have to wait until after La Source, if I'm correct. I could be completely wrong, but we're going to find out. David Toth is going to be the driver to lead them away. They're all anxiously waiting, and we're all anxiously waiting for when David Toth is going to go. Is he going to go just before La Source? Is he going to go just after La Source? Makes his way through, technically, the first corner. Still waiting patiently as where you got to be. And there he goes. David Toth is away, and it's green light racing as we head onto the back straight. As we go through Air Rouge and Radion. Hopefully, everyone can make it through these first few corners cleanly. As David Toth goes over the curbs there. A couple drivers going nearly 3 wide up through Radion. And they want to get their elbows out on this first lap. Further back, some drivers just feathering through. And Timo Rohde already going for the lead of the race around the outside. What a move that was on the first lap. Timo Rohde up into first place. David Toth absolutely stunned. He could do nothing about that. We've got a car off the track at Lecom. A couple of cars off the track. That's Marcus Fleshberger, who was one of the top drivers in our first group, who's just managed to fall down the grid. Possibly some contact there. But what a start from Timo Rohde up into first place.
Yeah, great start by Timo there to able to get up to the lead. They want the big prize. There's a big move by Gabriel there to get around Peter Zuba. Man, what a good start, though. I mean, to this 40-minute race here at Spa. Aaron, just a tremendous job by Timo and then David Toth and Colapinto, the highest pro right now, sitting in third, just trying to find a way to see a way around the top two drivers. But like we always say, the race is still early, plenty of time to learn the strengths and weaknesses of the drivers in front of us. So we're single file all the way through pretty much, and Timo's going to try to run away with this.
It's going to be difficult for him to run away. As we mentioned before, that slipstream is going to be oh so important for these guys. You have to stay within the slipstream of the cars in front. This is Mateus Colonel trying to go for a move up the inside, and just has to back out and watch the two cars in front of him go head to head. That's Matara and Benetti in at 14th, as Benetti's just lost out actually, and this is Colonel trying to go for a move into turn one. Let's see what he can do, but Timo Rauda still leading away, only 0.3 ahead of Toth behind, and Colapinto still eyeing up his chances in third place. Like you said, the only pro driver within the top 25 at the moment. He's really pushing on is Colapinto. But David Toth, what's he going to do? Is he going to try and go for this move, or is he just going to have to sit behind Timo? And he's just a little bit too far back on this occasion, and he's going to have to sit in second place for at least another lap, unless, well, there's one more overtaking opportunity around here, and that's into the final few corners in the bus stop. And it requires many balls, so you have to go through Blanchimont practically flat, and following another car, well, that's something I do not want to think about.
Yeah, exactly right. Just some things you don't want to think about when you're getting ready to do a race, Aaron. And I tell you what, though, looking through the field, back to 22nd place, still really good battle. And you got a field like 40 cars. You know, you always got battling throughout the track. So we're going to do the best we can to show you everybody on the track. So big shout out to Joshua for doing his thing. Back to good battle for 34th. Got the Gerhardt's, one of the pros in front of Christoph. So Christoph wants to get around him because he's like, I want to be the pro.
I mean, who wouldn't? Being a pro would be an absolutely fantastic result, as Gersitz hasn't really had the best start to this race. He's down 10th place, down 10 places, nearly runs into the back of one of the drivers ahead. I believe that was Selaj in 32nd place. But I believe we got some replays up at the start of the race when I think, wow, we had 3 or 4 cars who went off of the track. And, Avery, what do you think of this? And I think that was, we're going to get the, here we go. And, that's, yeah, not ideal there at all. Not ideal for the start to the race for Mark Hutchinson that he would want. But still got a long time in this race to try and get back up the field. It's a long old grid, this one. 47 cars like we mentioned before. And Gersitz has actually made his way up a couple places. I think Schaffner Steiner had some kind of issue, as he's just lost a couple places to where he was. And Hutchinson actually still fairly up there right now. He's battling with Bassauer for 27th place. And he will definitely be wanting to make his way further up the grid. I have raced against Hutchinson actually a few times, and he is a rather impressive driver, but just not having the best of luck today. But back to the top of the timing sheets, we've got Colapinto in 3rd place, still just eyeing up. I think Colapinto's pretty much going to do this for most of the race, just kind of sit in 3rd, eye up his chances, just wait for the guys in front to make their own mistakes. And Timo and Toth leading the way at the moment. I think Timo has just a better pace at the moment, but Colapinto, do not count him out. And yeah, got quite a few blinkers at the moment. Some people having some connection issues, and it's making the timing streams go all over the place. Some people just moving up and down the grid. But Finn Gersitz is making some steady progress, actually. He's got a bit of damage on that front end of that P2 car. Just taking the off track there, just firming it. But after a difficult start, he's just making his way through the field. And well, we'll see where he ends up at the end of this.
Yeah, trying to make some moves and catch back up through the field. And there's a Mark there in that 46 car trying to find a way around the pro Finn Garrett's.
Oh, Finn there, just trying to. Oh, and there's still nearly contact there. Mark Selage just in the middle of that. Not an ideal place to be. And this battle, pretty much for down to, I think this is a 28th place, is rather heating up actually, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And that's the car that's going off there. That's Hubert Dietard in 28th place. He managed to keep the place. I'm not sure if he will have to give that up with a slowdown or not, but gets ahead of Gersitz nonetheless. But he's going to be super vulnerable come the end of that Kemmel straight. But Simon Tamas now in 5th place. Again, this kind of this train all the way from 1st all the way down to, I think, 9th place with Peter Zuber. They all just kind of have to sit there. They can't really risk battling one another. Otherwise, well, you'll fall out of the slipstream train, and well, that's pretty much game over. They just have to play it a little bit patient. And actually, on this lap, Colapinto's just started to lose a bit of time to the 2 leaders, and just started to back away and might actually lose the slipstream. And wow, that's something you definitely do not want to do here at Spa. And Simon Coulthard's in 6th place. Raced against Simon a couple of times actually in the GCPs last season. I've spoken to him many times. He does stream a couple of times, and he's one of the top drivers on iRacing in the prototypes, going well at the moment in 6th place given the field that we have. He's also good friends with a couple other drivers in here, Peter Zuber, Timo I know he's good friends with, and Simon's going to be one to watch. He always manages to pull out a good result, and he could be possibly within the top 5 come the end of this race. So just keep an eye on the number 7, and we'll see where he can end up. But still, this battle going on for 27th place is still going on. Gersitz is still under pressure. One of the pros, of course, today cannot seem to catch a break as he goes around the final few corners. Still under pressure from Selage, who's giving him a hard time, you know, and the Austrian really rather impressive, I have to say, fighting Gersitz like this. Of course, Gersitz does have a lot of damage on that car by the looks of it, which is going to be hindering his straight line performance and round corners. But Selage is putting on a good show for all of us, and Gersitz just slossing in behind as we head up Air Rouge and Radion. And Schaffensteiner just eyeing up his chances, and look at the straight line speed that he has over Gersitz. And that's the damage coming in. He's got the slipstream, but I think he's just maxing out now. And pulling out. Is he going to go for the move up the inside? No, he just brakes a little bit early. And, well, just has to sit behind. And Gersitz having a tough old time down in 28th place. And, well, with that damage, he's it's not going to get any easier from here.
No, not going to get any easier from here. Down in a 36th place, Tomas just really put on a good effort trying to get around Bernard there, and just sitting there waiting for Bernard to make a mistake. That's kind of the biggest thing, is waiting for a mistake.
Gotta say, this race is a lot calmer than I thought it would be initially. I thought it would be absolute chaos and people would be constantly battling up at the front, but at the moment, oh, that's really close between Pista and I believe that's Bernard Wallach. That's for 36th place. And I think Wallach just had some kind of problem there and just eagerly wanted to get back on the track, but nearly drove into the side of one of his co-drivers. Not an ideal way to go to the midpoint in this race. As Pleshberger now under pressure from Mark Hutchinson, who's trying to make his way back through the field. In 25th place, they've rather broken away from the cars in front, and it's pretty much the top, I want to say, 15 cars right now. There's a car off in the background. That was a spinner on the final corner, and this is Franco Colapinto, who's actually going to lose a place to Koch, and that is an overtake from Jano Koch up into 3rd place. Colapinto has just been struggling on these last few laps. One of the key things in these prototype cars is in the first few laps, you have to not burn out your tyres, otherwise, well, it could just end in tears. And I wonder if that's what Colapinto has done. He's just pushed it a little bit too hard and is just struggling now to keep tabs with the cars ahead. He's still in 4th place. Of course, we've still got just over halfway to go in this race, but I've got to say, the top 2 rather running away with it at the moment.
Yeah, top 2 starting to run away from, for a brief moment, but still a long ways to go, Aaron. And I tell you what, Colapinto, look at that, having to take control of that steering wheel, pushing it to the absolute limits. And that's one thing, it's a lot with a lot of the faster drivers in iRacing. They're always pushing it to limits, but they're always so conscious about their tire wear. So a big shout out to Colapinto for still sitting up in the 4th place. The only change we've had in the top 12 is your front 2, and there's Calderon, one of the other pro drivers, sitting back in 42nd place, 3 laps down.
Yeah, Calderon had an absolutely horrible start to this race. I think she just got caught out in that first lap. And a rather unfortunate start for one of our pros. And going to try and get a replay of what actually happened to her. And I'm going to guess she just got caught up in the lap 1 incidents. And, well, Avery, just take us through this. And looks like we looks like we can't get the replay, unfortunately, on my end anyway. But Avery, you're gonna. No, we're just gonna go back to the live cams. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, we just could not get the replays up there. But either way, not an ideal start to the race for our pro driver, down in 41st. But she's not giving up. She's just gonna give it her best and see where she can end up in this race. And still got 2 other pros who are still on the lead lap at the moment. Of course, Colapinto up in 4th place. And Guess It, who I believe has actually had another issue and is down in 35th place. He's not having the best start to this race, is Guess It. He has the pace, but just keeps getting caught out in some of these incidents. And might have had an incident with Selaj as well, the driver that he was battling oh so hard with for 27th place. And I think Selaj has just had an incident of his own, as he's just lost a huge chunk of time in that middle sector. But nonetheless, our drivers are just starting to spread out a little bit now as we just come up to the 15-minute mark in this race. And this is kind of where it calms down the most. You kind of get the most intense racing those first 5-10 minutes, and then you get to this point around 15 minutes, and for the next 15 minutes, it probably is just going to calm down a little bit. People only going for the moves which they feel like they have to move. But the drivers lower down are absolutely ignoring what I'm saying. There's Lightbeg going there for 32nd place as he makes his way past Vogelance. He's down to 33rd. And these lower down drivers are just giving it absolutely everything. And you love to see it. They're just like, screw it, I'm just going to try and gain as many places as I can. I don't care about tyres, I don't care about fuel. Let's just go for it and see what happens. And you got to love that spirit from some of these guys.
Oh, absolutely. You got to, find those corners that you can rotate, you can motivate past those drivers. And I tell you what, Simon, he's trying to motivate to get around. Guess what? Another Simon in front of him. So really good effort by the Simons, sitting in 5th and 6th place. So that's some nice looking cars there, Aaron. I really like some of these liveries that we're seeing looking back from Simon, the Hungarian driver, looking back at the other Simon, then that number 7 car, just a big train of cars behind him. He knows if he makes a mistake, he's losing 5 or 6 positions.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's what you get when you're in a slipstream train. You just got to be nice and consistent, keep tabs with the cars ahead, and just keep it cool. There's no need to push. There's no need to go deep into any corners. You just got to keep it on the track and just bring it home, really, and try and catch them out towards the end of the race. But your top 2 really are pushing away from the rest of the field now. They're separated by half a second. And then you've got Jarno Koch, who's just started to catch back up to them slowly over these last few laps, as I think Colapinto is really starting to struggle now. But the two Simons battling for 5th and 6th place. They're rather close to each other. I wonder if Coulthard is going to try and actually go for a move at some point. As a Stray Matter as well is really eyeing up his chances with Rio Ackerman in front, but thinks better of it. And this is what I mean. You have the opportunity to go for a move, but they just think, nah, I'm just going to sit behind, save some tyres, save some fuel. I don't need to go for the move now. Well, I've got to say, oftentimes I'm rather in a different mindset. I just think, if I can go, if I'm catching the guy ahead, it means I'm quicker than him, so I'm going to try and go for the move. And that's some strategic things. I'm not actually sure. I don't know if Tamas had some kind of slowdown there, or Coulthard's just, it's been let through. I'm not quite sure there, actually. But we're about to find out, as Tamas is now actually slowing down. But that's going to leave Ackerman wide open to try and get the place. I think you've got Stray Matter there flashing his lights, thinking, this isn't the best idea. There's Ackerman trying to go around the outside. It's just losing them time. And Coulthard has actually lost a huge chunk of time to the cars ahead now. And he's fallen out of the slipstream of Colapinto in front. And they're still battling as we head into No Name. That's Stray Matter trying to go for a move on Tamas. And Tamas at the moment is absolutely falling down the order. He started this lap in 5th. And is now down in 8th.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, man, this is a really good battle. And some side-by-side battles and really good effort by these drivers. Good clean racing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not smart to say, but it's entertaining and very, very fun to watch. And like you say, very, very clean. As these are some of the top drivers in prototypes across the entire sim. Peter Zuber, of course, competing in IMSA esports, and Simon Coulthard being one of the most experienced drivers in prototypes. He raced the LMP1s fairly extensively, along with Timo, who is currently in the lead. And Colapinto, well, is just Franco Colapinto. He's got many, many experience in Formula 3 and a lot of other open wheel racing in real life. And he is showing his worth at the moment up into 4th, but we'll see where he can beat at the end of this race. I don't know if he's just being a little bit conservative in the first part of this race and is just finding himself in a nice little gap in 4th place. He's just about keeping tabs with Koch ahead. And, well, we'll see where he can finish come the end of this, as he's kind of the only pro right now who people are aiming to beat, as our other two pros have had a bit of a horrid time in this race, just getting caught up in incidents. But let's see who can come out on top. This is Peter Zuber now trying to go for a move on Tamas, as Tamas, I think, is just starting to struggle. And Simon is just keeping the place, as Peter's just backing out. There's a lapped car there. And just keeping on to 8th place. And well, Peter, one of the more talented prototype drivers, and I'm not sure if you've seen too much of him, Avery, but I can expect Peter over the course of this race to just make gains, as he's one of the best drivers when it comes to strategy.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic driver. I may not know prototypes, but I know who Peter Zuba is. So, a really good driver. Just sitting in the ninth place right now, 3/10 back from Simon Tamos, and just going to try to, find his way back around him.
Well, I believe there's been some kind of incident. Let's see if we can have the replay actually working this time, and I believe it is. This is Burhan Wallach, who was battling all the way down, I believe, in 30th place. This is coming into the final corner. And, just heads off into the pits, actually. And that's a fairly early pit stop from him. There's another driver following him in. He's rather crawling into the pits. And maybe really desperate not to break... Yeah, he activated the pit limiter very, very early. And that's a very, very early pit stop for Burhard. And another driver also following him in. But nonetheless, a rather interesting pit stop there. But Timo still in the lead and putting on a rather impressive performance, I've got to say, the Swiss. And I'd be very surprised if he didn't end up winning this race. But we don't know what David Toth has got in his back pocket. It could it could just pop up at any moment that these two can just go wheel to wheel. But I think finally, after nearly an hour, we can bring Ellen from RaceTech AVL up into the channel. And Ellen, can you hear us? And can we hear you?
Yes, now it works. With my mobile, it works. Hi, everybody.
There we go.
Thanks for your comments so far. Yeah.
All good, Ellen. But now that you're finally here, could you just talk us through this event? Talk us through just everything. Just give the viewers what they want.
Of course. First of all, because you were complaining a bit in the beginning about the LMP2, I personally think it's great cars and it's great racing.
Yes.
And also when you look at the ELMS, it's just so competitive next year. It's unbelievable, as they are not allowed to do the WEC anymore. So it's great cars, it's great prototype, and it's in a way affordable. Well, affordable is relative in motorsport, of course, but it's really great racing. And one of our brands, he couldn't come unfortunately because he's testing for Alpine. He stepped up into the hypercar category. Congrats to him for that. And he, I remember his Le Mans win, with 1/10 of a second in the class in 2 or 3 years ago. So it is just very tight racing, and we love it. And the second thing, yes, Spa is a great track, of course. We all love that as well. Why is AVL RACETECH doing that? Because we have a sim racing Betriebssportgruppe. I don't even know the English word for that. That is when sim racers or other sports people come together, or even you sing in a choir, organized by the company. And AVL is a big company. It's an engineering company with 11,000 engineers, and so this is our Betriebssportgruppe, the Gorillas. And we support them a bit, of course, because we love sim racing as well. Why? Because AVL RACETECH, the motorsport department, we are engaged in 17 race series, Formula 1, WEC, MotoGP, NASCAR, IndyCar, you name it. And so, yeah, we love this sport in every way. Yeah, so sim racing as well. We actually have a professional sim racer, and we have. It's one of our biggest or most important products is a vehicle simulation software. We work with some LMP2 teams, actually, with the Le Mans winner from this year, with Inter Europol. We work very closely. And we have our own professional simulator as well. So, it's just in our blood, It's all comes together. AVL RACETECH itself, we do test beds for Formula 1. We can talk about that. We did all the test beds for Red Bull Racing, for example. Obviously, also not so unsuccessful. This customer of ours, and we have a whole range of engineering you can imagine in motorsport. And one word about Franco Colapinto. Also a guy we all love, and we from pro sides we have all hopes on him. Of course, he is our official simulator driver, so he helps us with our simulator, since it's not announced yet, but he is. And he has an unbelievable career coming from South America to Europe, racing here, so successful in Formula 3, very successful successful sim racer as well, but in a way simulator driver, testing all innovations, etc. in the simulator. And unfortunately, Tatiana Calderon, one of our ambassadors, she couldn't start the race. She was allowed to do the qualifying. She qualified not very good, we saw that, but she couldn't enter the race. That's a bit of a pity, because I'm also trying to, as a female myself, try to support females in motorsport, and now the only female in the field couldn't enter the race. That's a bit of a pity. Nevertheless, the reason is we love this. We want to promote us, of course, a bit. We will have a new software, and if you like, we can talk about that later a bit, because this is for sim racing, more or less, the new software we are working on, and which will come up end of the year. But the main thing is we love it so much that we give a good prize money. So don't forget, nobody talked about the prize money. The pros will not get any money, but everybody else is able to win money, and we have the $300 in iRacing vouchers for the first place, 200 for the second place, 150 for the third place, and so on, down to P10 with some extra bonus also for a random driver of the race, more or less. And all in all is $1,111 we spend as prize money. And for everybody interested, we will have another Beat the Pro challenge soon at the beginning of next year. So also LMP2s, sorry for that.
Bring on the LMP2s.
The different track. Yeah. By the way, Finn Gersitz, who is doing well as well, because it's not his, well, where is he at the moment? Oh, he fell back, maybe. I don't see him. But Finn is a young driver. He's only 18 years old, and he has the, so something happened there. So he has 2 years of real experience in the real motorsport world on real tracks in LMP3. And this year he did a GT racing. So he's back to, 36. Well, Finn, if you hear me, push the right pedal. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I really like what you're doing. It's so exciting to follow, and also your commentating. Really, I want to give you a big compliment for that.
Aww.
Very good. Very, very nice to follow. Yeah.
Well, I'm absolutely flattered, Ellen, and well, sounds like AVL is doing more than I could ever dream of doing, to be honest. I mean, of course, I will be following Ferdinand in the World Endurance Championship. I absolutely love the World Endurance Championship. I don't know who doesn't. Watching the prototypes go around, it's such a joy. And yeah, like you say, you've got some fantastic drivers coming through. Colin Pinto, of course, being one of them. Gersitz being such a young driver has got so much potential. And Calderon, of course, leading the way with the women in motorsport is such an amazing thing you guys are doing. And well, thank you for coming up and speaking with us, and thank you for organising this event.
Yeah. Next time again, like I said, January, February, maybe we put even up more prize money into it. Let's see. I'm coming from real racing. I know what the costs are. I know in iRacing they are less, but nevertheless, I'm willing to spend some money on that. No, seriously, it's we are very much into simulators, of course, as you can imagine. And our high-end simulator, you can, for example, directly connect to the testbed. So when a team is there having the hypercar, for example, on the full vehicle testbed, one floor above the driver sits in the simulator and drives the real car, which is at the time on the testbed, which gives you real data. So that is really an exciting world, everything about simulation. And like I'm saying, it's a great field. And I was not so much into sim racing, to be honest. I'm older generation. I'm 58 now, 30 years on racetracks myself. But I am getting into it slowly but slowly. And I'm thinking about already how my simulator at home would look like. That is a bad start, because that means I spend some money in the future.
Well, as coming from someone who has spent a lot of money on this game and a sim, it's watching the money drain from your bank account is painful. Very, very painful. It's a lot of money, but I'd say it's worth it. Sim racing's pretty fun, isn't it? We all love doing it. That's why we're here. So, and it gives some opportunities to drivers who necessarily don't really have the money to do it in real life, such as me. I'd love to drive in real life, but yeah, so as you say, real life racing is not exactly cheap. It's quite a lot of money, unfortunately. Exactly. But it's an amazing thing that we're doing today, and it's a pleasure to watch all of these guys race around this track.
Yeah. So thank you very much for having me in your commentator booth, let's say like that.
It's been our pleasure.
And I'm of course watching and listening to you till the end.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Ellen, and we'll chat to you, I believe, after the race.
We prepared a little bit of a raffle for the $51 voucher. But I don't think I can do it actually because my computer doesn't want to connect. So I'm on my mobile, and that's a bit difficult because I cannot share it. So we will give it away randomly. Like I said, the top 10 will get 3 to 150, 160, and then 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. I'm just reading it from my screen to P10, and we get in touch with them after the race, of course, per email, and we'll send them the vouchers and the $51 voucher. You have to trust us that we do the raffle on my computer and then find the name. All right.
We trust you. We trust you.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Ellen.
Never trust anybody in motorsport, by the way.
Couldn't have said it better
All right.
myself. Well, thank you, Ellen, and been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Well, that was a lovely chat with Ellen, one of the people organising this event, and some very, very lovely words there from her. Well, while we've been chatting away with her, pretty much everyone has now come in for their pit stops. Just 5 drivers ahead now are making their last pit stops, and actually Colapinto has managed to get himself up into net, I believe 3rd place at the moment. We'll see where Koch comes out and see if going a lap ahead actually has helped him, as he is now coming out of the pits. He's coming towards the end of his anyway. We'll have to keep an eye on him and see if going a lap extra actually helps him or not. He's still sitting there stationary, and I don't think sitting there for another lap is actually the way to go, as you've got the leaders now coming down this back straight up through Air Rouge and Radion at full tilt, while Koch has still got to accelerate all the way up. And actually, I eat my words, he's actually just about managed to get ahead of Toth, but has just been re-overtaken. But he's a lot closer to Toth than he was. Timo has absolutely stormed off into the lead. He had an absolutely fantastic pit stop. So he's definitely going to be one of the drivers to watch. And like I said before, Peter Zuber is now in 5th place. He's an absolute master when it comes to strategy. He's used to it, doing it in IMSA Esports, and well, he's managed to jump a couple drivers, and well, he's put himself in a really, really good place.
Yeah, Zub up 4 spots from where he started, and he's not going to stop there. I mean, trying to get up to Gabriel in front of him, but take a look back at the back part of the field. Very tight battles. Here's Michael in that 49 sitting behind Hubert in the 770, and you see there's a couple drivers. Finn Garrett's behind him, one of the pro drivers. They're just kind of creeping there, Aaron. So we'll just see if he's able to catch back up to get to a 30th position. Like we've said, we've got a big field today. 47 total cars, so always great racing throughout the field. There's Finn Garrett's one of the pro drivers out here on the simulator, just trying to get a good finish there, sitting in 30th position, running a good race so far. Best lap time, 2:05. It's only a second off the pace. We'll take a look at a lot of the best lap times. I take a look at our SDK app. Great scoring app that pretty much everyone, Aaron, is within 2 to 3 seconds. So that's a really good, some good times you see on your screen. That's got their as the fastest lap of the day for them. So yeah, really still a really close field as the race has moved on to the 34-minute mark.
Yeah, and that's the good thing with these types of races is, even though it is quite a long lap time here, it is still really, really close, and well, you absolutely love to see it. And well, like you said, within 2 seconds is the entire field pretty much. You've got a few outliers, more pretty much 30th place and below, who have not had the best lap times, but even some guys who haven't had the best lap times. I mean, you've got the likes of some other drivers that aren't necessarily the quickest, but have just been really consistent, stayed out of trouble, and are up into a nice place. I mean, I think Brett Bones hasn't been necessarily the quickest, but he's in 18th right now, and has just been really, really good, really consistent, and stayed out of trouble. And he's managed to gain a lot of places because of it. And I think in a race like this, where it's 45 minutes long, it's kind of a sprint, but a bit endurance as well. It's long enough that you have to think about it. The key is just staying consistent, staying smooth, and keeping the car all 4 wheels on the track and looking after it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you just said, keeping the car clean, staying on the track, and then just try to make a move here. We'll see if Christopher Berger is going to be able to make a move, just still sitting in the slipstream. It's a little early. I mean, yeah, there's 10 minutes left, but you don't really want to show your hand too quick, because if you make a move, guess what? They might try to do the same thing the next lap. So, you know, I kind of like the idea of waiting till maybe that white flag lap to try to make your overtake attempt.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that crowd as well. You don't want to show what you've got too early. I mean, if you've got the pace, like I believe what he's trying to do right now, no, he's interesting, staying behind, but famously, of course, coming up Air Rouge and Radion and the Kemmel Straight, it's an absolute slipstream fest. So let's see what he can do and if he can go for the move into Lecom. He's just gaining on that slipstream right now. And look how powerful this slipstream is. The 420 is gaining so quickly. Trying to go around the outside. Bit of a difficult overtake here. This is for 35th place. Christopher Berger's going to try and go for this. You have to be super brave on the brakes, and he's done it. He made it look absolutely easy. He managed to make the apex as well. I just think Piffster just didn't really have the bravery there that Berger did. Well, what an overtake that was. Got himself up into 35th, but unfortunately he's just about 10 seconds behind the cars ahead. So he's just going to have to look out for some incidents and try and pick off his opponents that way. Sebastian Pullis as well has had a bit of a silent race, up a couple places from where he started. But it's just lacked the pace, really, this entire race, really, to keep up with some of the guys ahead. Made him a few mistakes, got caught up in a couple incidents as well, but is still ahead of about 15 other drivers. So fair play to the man. He's doing decently well as well. And well, the field spread after those pit stops has just increased a little bit. Timo Rauder, of course, at the top. The gap's now 2 seconds right at the top, and Colapinto is really struggling. Colapinto looks like he's got a bit of damage on that front end, but I think we have another crash from Calderon, I believe. Let's see if the replay is going to work. This is Markus Pleschberger. Let's see. This is into the last corner, and oh, that's way too late on the brakes, and bit of an incident there, but just managed to keep it on the track. And this is Calderon and Avery. Why don't you talk us through this? I think it's a slowdown.
Yeah, a little squeak. Yeah, a little squeak, a little lock up on the brakes. One thing I want to give a big shout out, when we talked with Ellen earlier, talking about women in racing, I think the one thing, as we make a big move with Colapinto trying to defend, and here comes Ackerman, it looks to be, they don't like that move when you start flashing the lights. Hello.
Neither of them do.
The flashing of the lights is, you can imagine what that they're trying to display. Wow. Colapinto.
Colapinto being incredibly aggressive there, really does not want to give up this 6th place. And he's got Coulthard and Ackerman all over the back of him. This is Simon just giving him a bit of a nudge, gives him another nudge, and Coulthard goes wide. Ackerman surely is going to try and be hungry for that place, but just sits behind, wasn't able to make the best of it. And I think Colapinto still is just struggling way too much right now compared to the likes of Simon and Ackerman, who are both eager to get past. And, well, Simon definitely not happy about that, as we saw him flashing. We saw Ackerman flashing as well. They're both not very happy with it. He's flashing again. Simon really, really not happy with what Franco Colapinto's doing. But quite frankly, I don't really think Colapinto cares. I think he's just here to see how well he can do. He's in 6th place right now, just lacking that little bit of pace. And I think he has damage as well on the front of that P2 car. Not sure where he grabbed that one from, but he's been in a bit of a wars today, has Colapinto, not really been able to kind of be on his own. He's just always had someone up his rear, and well, it seems like it's going to be like that all the way to the end of the race. We've got 5 minutes to go in this 45-minute race. We're coming to the end of it, and I think, if my maths are correct, when they cross the line, we'll have 3 laps left, I think, just. It's either going to be 2 or 3. Depends at the exact time that they cross the line. It's difficult to tell because it's such a long lap time. I don't know. But we've got Tatiana Calderon, unfortunately, has come into the pits again. She's really not had the best time in this race. Still in 39th, and I believe the last driver who's still racing, I think. I could be completely wrong on that. And I think she is. Either that or she's still got Bernhard Wallaker, who's in 40th place behind her. But either way, not had the best of time as she at the start of this race. And then, hello, this is Peter Zuber trying to go for, I believe this is 4th place, and didn't look like Straymaster was fighting that one too hard. He let Peter right through, and Peter, who started 9th, didn't have the best one-lap pace, but has absolutely made mincemeat of some of these guys in the race. And well, it's like I was saying at the start, Peter is an absolute god when it comes to strategy and race pace. He's putting on a really good performance. He actually set a purple Sector 4 on that last lap. He's really got some good pace in that P2 car. Saved the tyres, saved the fuel, and he set the fastest lap of the race as well. A 2:04.6, which is a 1/10.5 ahead of anyone else on track. He's really getting the best out of this P2 car, and possibly by the end of this, maybe could get a podium. It's a bit of an ask, but you just never know. It's going to be a tough ask, but we'll see what he can do. And this is David Toth as well, who's under pressure from Jarno Koch. And I said this when they came out of the pits, that Jarno was right on the back of David. And Jarno has put on a really impressive performance. I think he's got Calderon and someone else ahead of him. So this is going to be a bit of squeaky bum time as we head into the last corner. This is going to be really close. David Toth trying to squeeze his way through the traffic. Calderon going very deep, and nearly wipes out Jarno Koch, and Toth just has to give it up. And Koch is going to lose that place, but crucially, is going to have the slipstream as we come down the Kemmel Straight. And the two back markers, they're really making a hash of it. Unfortunately for David Toth, made him lose the place, but potentially a little bit of a strategic play there. If these two keep on battling, Peter Zuber is going to be able to catch up to these guys and be right on the back of them, as Timo Rohde is just running away with it. Gabriel Straymatter is also still battling it out with Peter Zuber, and Gabriel let him through on the last lap. What's he going to do now? He's going to try and battle him again as we come onto the Kemmel Straight. Is Peter just going to give this one up, or is he going to fight it? Into Le Combigo. He's going to choose not to fight it. He's going to choose for track position is Gabriel Straymatter, and Peter Zuber is going to try and overtake him on the next lap, which I think is going to be white flag. I don't know. We'll find out when they cross the start-finish line. But Avery, this is some fantastic racing at the end of this 45-minute race. And, well, you just don't know who's going to finish where, do you?
Yeah, I'm holding my breath. I'm trying to just, sit back in my my chair. If I had a seatbelt on, I'd be wearing it, because this is just getting some intense racing. I mean, especially with David Toth and Jarno, they were going up the lap traffic, and then one zigged, the other one zagged, and nobody wrecked. I mean, like, that's just something that you don't see too often. So great driving by those drivers, and David Toth was kind of the one that was hurt the most by it, but you know what, still in a podium position. But this battle for 6th position.
That's Colapinto. That's a big one. That's Franco Colapinto into the wall, and that's going to be the end of his race today. It's going to seem like all of our pros have had absolutely horrid times. And, well, we're going to have a look at a replay pretty much instantly of what happened there. And I'm going to have to guess he either dipped a wheel on the grass or just went way too quickly into the corner. He's looks like he's been struggling just the second half of this race and just hasn't had the pace. But let's see what happened. Does he dip a wheel onto the grass? Oh.
Yeah, a little bit.
What? Yeah, that looked like...
Yeah.
That looked like mechanical failure there. He just drove straight into the wall. And unfortunate for the Argentinian, who was going so well up in 6th place. But yeah, looks like, well, most of our drivers are going to beat a pro today. It's a beat a pro challenge. And, well, our highest placed pro looks like he's going to be in 30th place. So unfortunate for our pros that they've not all had the best of times. But either way, this is going to be white flag. And Timo Rohde is roaring away with it in 1st place right now. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of Koch, who actually, Koch has really stretched the gap to Toth. And I think Toth just had a really, really just horrible lap time on that last lap. He was a second slower than Koch. And yeah, Koch has just put down some really good laps. And Straymaster's only a second and a half behind. But I think Toth is still going to be fine for the podium. And I don't really have enough time to actually overtake anyone. Unfortunately, just a bit too far back, one lap too late. And this is Finn Gersitz trying to go for a move up the inside of Foglands into 29th place. That looks rather textbook there from the German. And well, after being very much in the wars today, he's just trying to make up a couple more positions on this last lap and locks up into turn one. That's not the way to do it, Finn. And he's going to be under pressure from the man behind. It looked like he was trying to go for the move on the man in 28th place, but just couldn't manage to do it, unfortunately. But this battle is still going on. That's going to be for 6th place, but Timo Rohde has had an absolutely amazing race from start to finish. He's going to cross the line to win the Spa 45-minute AVL RACETECH race. Beat the Pro Challenge. He managed to beat all 3 of them and everyone else. What an absolutely fantastic race from Timo. That was really, really impressive. Jarno Koch as well, 2nd place, really good from him. Toth just didn't have the pace towards the end of that race. And Straymaster comes home in 4th place ahead of Peter Zuber, who just didn't have the pace on those last few laps in 5th. Simon in 6th. He's done a fantastic job. Brett Bones as well has just kept it nice and consistent, and coming around the final few corners, he's going to come home in 18th place. He's had a really, really good day today. And he's just managed to pick off pickings, and he'll be happy with that. Marcus Plushberger as well had a good qualifying, but just could not quite have the luck in the race. And as everyone else comes home, just waiting for our last few drivers to finish, as this battle for 28th is still going on. As Finn Gersitz now trying to eye up the man in 27th place, Lightbid. And, well, he's got one more opportunity to do it. Into the bus stop chicane. He's a little bit far back, but I mean, I don't think he has anything to lose. So, well, we're about to find out if he's going to go for this 27th place. Is it going to matter that much to him? What's he going to do? It looks like he's looking down the inside, and he goes towards the outside as, oh, that's very, very deep from Thomas. Is Finn going to be able to get the cutback? He is. This is going to be a run to the line. This is going to be interesting. Who's going to get 27th place? And Finn, I think, has just missed out. Oh, that was a very, very close finish between them two. And they actually hit each other into turn 1. But, oh, what a finish to this race that was for 27th place. As Sebastian Pullis just unfortunately cannot quite get Schwett for 31st. Only 2 drivers left who need to cross the start-finish line. Gregory Jones and Berger behind, who is just coming across the line now. And that is all of your drivers finishing. Oh, wow, Havery, that was a really good race, I'd say. LMP2s at Spa, always managing to deliver.
Oh, yeah, this race delivered on, I mean, on everything. It was such some good battles, some good clean battles, some great moves that the drivers made, and some of the moves that you don't normally see on in a sim race, because these drivers had patience, and that's the one thing that always preaches, just have a little bit of patience, and they did, and that's where some of those moves happened. Before we go to the results, I want to give a big thanks to that AVL RACETECH group for 1,111 iRacing vouchers given away tonight. That's unheard of, Aaron, and it's really, I appreciate it as a sim racer when there's a company that wants to back, other sim racers. So like $300 in iRacing credits to Timo, who won, and then all the way down the 10th, and then like Ellen told us, a random $51 voucher to someone below it. So big shout out to AVL RACETECH for supporting sim racing. We really appreciate them choosing us to showcase these great drivers.
Yeah, I pretty much echo your words. And yeah, it's always good to have these companies, like you say, who manage to support sim racers. And well, if I had that much iRacing dollars, well, I'd be good for like the next 3 years probably. But here are your race results. And once again, I've got to go through 47 drivers And wow, wish me luck. Timo Rauder absolutely dominated today from start to finish. He wins today at Spa. He was your man to beat today, to be honest. Jarno Koch in second place, and David Toth rounds out the podium. Gabriel Straymatter managed to edge ahead of Peter Zuber. Simon Coulart's in 6th place. Rio Ackerman in 7th. Simon Tamas in 8th. Jonny Gebhard in 9th place. Walter Lux in 10th. Thomas Fischke in 11th place. Tommy Pataro in 12th. Hendrik Struer in 13th. Andreni Benetti in 14th place. Jorge Marquinez in 15th. Matthias Connell in 16th. Michael Rock in 17th. Brett Bones in 18th. Christian Meyer in 19th place. Mark Hutchison, who managed to make a pretty decent comeback in 20th place. And the other half of your grid, Marcus Pleschberger in 21st. Michael Derlinger in 22nd. Patrick Zimmerman in 23rd. Berhan Goffer in 24th. Mark Selage in 25th. Managed to also have a pretty decent comeback as well. Huber in 26th. Thomas in 27th place. Your actually highest finishing pro today. Quite weird saying that, actually. Finn Gersis in 28th place. Just could not manage to escape the wars today. He was in it pretty much the entire time. Christopher Schaffner in 29th. Michael Volklands in 30th place. And then your final 17 drivers. It's going to be Christian Sweats in 31st, Sebastian Pullis in 32nd, Gregory Jones in 33rd, Christopher Berger in 34th, Bernard Pista in 35th, Christian Rosinka in 36th. Your second place pro, Franco Colapinto, who we think had some kind of technical issue on their second to last lap. He would have been a pretty decent finish, I think up in 6th place, so unfortunate for him. Christian Elbsizer in 38th, Tatiana Calderon in 39th place. She just was really, really unlucky today, not being able to start the race. Bernard Wellick in 40th, Alfonso Queiroz in 41st, Santek Devinder in 42nd, Matt Siegel in 43rd, Lucas Basser in 44th, Raul Tender in 45th, Roberto Cristerna in 46th, and Jakob Klesbauner in 47th place. I managed to do that again. I'm very proud of myself, going through 43 drivers all at the same time, and well, I managed to do it without breaking a sweat. So I rather enjoyed this, Avery, and I hope all of you at home did as well. It was so much fun to watch and commentate for. And Avery, have you got any words of wisdom for us?
Words of wisdom. When it comes to mind, you come to Spa with an LMP2 car. It's going to be tough, and these drivers did a fantastic job at just keeping the race clean and making some really good moves. But before we Aaron sends you off, Ellen made a good comment about women in racing. I know I'll be in attendance for the 2024 Rolex 24, and there'll be a couple teams that have a women-led team. You have the 66 Gradient Racing car with Catherine Legg and Sheena Monk. Catherine, met her multiple times at Indy. Such a great person. And then you take a look at the 83 car in that Lamborghini in the GTD class. Michelle Getting, Sarah Bovey, and Raphael Fry. The other thing I want to give a big shout out to, I just got the random from Ellen. The $51 raffle goes to the driver, Jorge Conde, who gets 51 iRacing credits from the random driver from 11th to 47th. So congratulations to Jorge for getting that accomplishment. One top 10 drivers got it, but I'm always a big fan of from 11 on back, because you know why I'm a big fan of that, Aaron? Because that's where I usually am. That's the I'm in this position where I want to get. I may not be the fastest driver, but I'm still eligible for some prizes. So congratulations to Jorge, and congratulations to the rest of the field. And like I said, a big thanks to AVL RACETECH for putting on this Beat the Pro challenge. Like Ellen said, look for it. Another one coming in early 2024. But Aaron, we'll let you send it off. But what a great show.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that any better. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate over this race for you. I've been Aaron Smith. Alongside me has been Avery McDonald, and in the production booth, Joshua Wilkie. And, well, it's been a great day for racing. The pros, unfortunately, pretty much all of them got beat by sim racers today. So, sim racers won, real life drivers nil, and I'm definitely on the side of sim racers. But anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you next time, hopefully, for another round of amazing racing in a Beat the Pro challenge. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracing